Hello, Facebook. I am Kenny Boyle. I am from Perfect Strangers, and I am here with Sylvester McCoy and Sanjeev Kohli. And we're going to talk a little bit about Perfect Strangers. This is a truly international broadcast from our various houses because, Sanj, you're in Glasgow, am I right?
I'm in Glasgow. I'm in my own house. I don't really use it that much. So lockdown's not been a massive change. So no, I'm actually in my bedroom because I've got a wee dog who, like all dogs, is a major attention seeker. And if Benji knew on Facebook,
people have called me an old dog.
I don't owe you.
I am
So
an attention seeker.
But you can't lick your own bits, I hope. I'd be very impressed if you could.
I didn't get that last bit.
You can't lick your own bits, can you?
Oh, yeah. Hang on.
Not for lack of trying.
You haven't had a rib removed to do that, have you?
Like Prince.
Yeah. Is that the rumour? Prince had a rib removed so that you can satisfy himself?
So this is off to a good start. So that's Sanj's in Glasgow. I'm near Edinburgh, and Sylvester, you are in France, right?
Mais oui, yes, I'm in the south of France, up on top of a mountain in a medieval village, listening to the tumbrel go back at night and the bells ringing. Bring out your dead, bring out your dead. It's kind of very appropriate, really.
Would you have chosen to be there, Sylvester, or was it just...
No, I was on my way home, and then the president of France put anyone over 70. Could you believe it? Anyone over 70 under house arrest. So I'm under house arrest, thanks to the president. But I'm delighted, though. It's a great place to be. Otherwise, I'd be in the middle of London, all busy and people kind of coughing and stuff. There's hardly anyone here.
Well, you could have joined in on the party in Waterloo Bridge. Have you seen that?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, gosh, no. And what, idiots going out on the bridge?
Well, no, they went out, they're doing this tap for the NHS thing, which is great. Yeah. Although, I've got this theory that Trump is actually going to set up his own NHS now that he knows we just have to pay nurses with badges. It's a great idea. But they'd all stood on Waterloo Bridge at 8 o'clock and it was mobbed. It was absolutely properly like a game of sardines.
Yeah.
And the thing was, there was police there and ambulances, and the police officers were stood with the protesters, clapping with them. Whereas here, I took my wee boy for a cycle ride at Clyde, and it was pretty sparse. There was one woman looking out on the river, and two police cyclists came up, and they're very friendly. And they said, "Would you mind just if you could keep moving?" And I thought, well, what are they doing in London? Well, they just letting them away with it. Seems very strange.
I don't know, maybe there's too many people in London, so that's one way to reduce the population, put them on Waterloo Bridge and get them clapping. Another way.
The thing is, I wouldn't mind if it was just natural selection, because you see these halfwits in America doing, they're protesting against, I can't get a haircut.
And I play golf.
Yeah. And it'd be fine if it was just those halfwits that died, but unfortunately, it's
fine. It's the vulnerable people they spread it to.
That's it.
Yeah. Let's talk about Perfect Strangers. That's what we're here for. So everyone's heard from me already. We had one of these little meetings a few days ago or weeks ago. I don't know. Time has no meaning for me anymore. So I've already spoken about my experience in film. I wondered for you guys, what was it that made you get involved? Why did you decide to do the movie? And we'll start with Sylvester. Tell us how you got involved with Perfect Strangers.
Well, I saw a little movie that Ryan had done with Fraser, which I thought was a very touching, a sweet little film, and thought, wow, there's something there, there's some sort of magic there. And so I thought, I'd quite like to be part of something like that. Also, I hadn't been to Glencoe for many a year, and I wanted to go back to Glencoe, and that was it, really. And I just thought, you guys were all in it. And I worked with Sandy a couple of times before, so it was like, oh yes, it's go see old friends, or old enemies, or have a few jars.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's in. I read the script. It's good fun. It was sweet, it was lovely, and yeah, I just wanted to be part of it, really.
Glencoe is such a beautiful place, isn't it? Such a gorgeous part of the country, and the Classic as well. It's such a great
Oh,
place.
that area was great, and the people around me were very welcoming. Everyone was lovely. It was just kind of having a winter holiday, really. It was supported by a whiskey company, I believe. There seemed to be a lot of whiskey around.
Yeah, at the start anyway. By the end, there wasn't so much.
Yes, some people have drunk it.
I don't know who that was.
Think.
Sanj, how did you get roped into this whole thing?
Well, I was missold it. I was told it would be 3-part science fiction spectacular. I met Ryan. I was trying to work out where I met Ryan. I think he might have been at the Scottish Baptist a few years ago, and we've got chatting to him. And I just liked his energy, and I'd always said that, obviously, I like to work with people that I like to be energized by other people, and that sounded more erotic than it had to be. But I liked the kind of his jib. I liked him, and then there's I can't remember. We've been corresponding with each other sort of sporadically over the years, and then he's told me about this film, and I really like a well-made romantic comedy. One of my favorite films is When Harry Met Sally. I quite like Four Weddings and a Funeral. There, I said it. I do. I really like it. But a romantic comedy done badly isn't the best thing. It's like anything done badly isn't great, but a good romantic comedy I really like. And this was going to be Scotland's first Scottish Christmas romantic comedy, but also it was a romantic comedy with Sylvester McCoy, who I had a very great pleasure of working with on Reading For Show, Fags, Bags and Bags, and that was lovely. Fraser Hines I've always liked. Also, there was a Scottish romantic comedy with Claire Grogan in it. So, Gregory's Girl is one of my favourite. It's always going to be my top 5 films of all time, and Claire's lovely. In fact, the whole cast. Kenny, I've not worked with you before, and I thought you were great, I have to say.
Go on.
It was a really fun shoot. It's one of those ones where I was going to say everyone left their egos at the door, but I don't think anyone had an ego to leave at the door, if you know what I mean. It was, as Sylvester said, it felt like a holiday. They really looked after us at the Classic. It was beautiful. I'm really hoping that the goodwill that we all felt will translate to the screen. I think it will, because it is that kind of film. My character I quite liked. He was sort of a little bit grumpy, not in the Naveed levels of grumpy, but a bit, I guess, jaded. I guess, everyone, bar the 2 leads, were sort of quite, well, actually, Ken, your character's pretty jaded, but you do find the joy of Christmas. And I do really love Christmas. So it was nice to be able to channel some of that, and everyone comes around in the end. But sorry, Sylvester?
We've had 2 Christmases, really.
Well, we did, because that's the other thing as well. We filmed it in January, which is, the suicide month. So it was nice to get to extend the Christmas joy for a few
Indeed,
yes. And here's the best compliment I can give the shoot. If we'd been stuck there in lockdown, I wouldn't have minded.
Neither would I. Yeah, no, it was lovely. I felt sad when I left. Really, we drove off into the wild weather. It was dramatic. Yeah. On the way there were 2 vans blown over in the middle of this road with no lights, and gales and rain and everything. And we got out of the car. I couldn't get out of my car because I could open the door, so I had to open it because of the wind. And we went to this van, and in the van there was nobody. He'd obviously escaped. But afterwards, the chap who was driving, he said, "Oh, what a pity." He said, "Because it'd been great, him in his van, and we came to rescue him. And Doctor Who had rescued him, but the police had got him first."
So in the last interview that was put on Facebook, Ryan was saying that there wasn't a lot of improvisation off script, and now that Ryan's not here, I'd just like for you guys to contradict that. So how true to the script, how much improvisation, how much fun did you have on set, and was there the opportunity to bring your own life to the characters and to make them more 3-dimensional? That was a poorly worded question, but hopefully you can give me a good answer. We'll start with Sanj this time.
Well, I tried to improvise a couple of times, and Ryan punched me really hard. He started off as quite sort of friendly and avuncular, but I mean, like a lot of people who are visionaries, he's quite Machiavellian and quite direct. And if you stray off his vision, then you will pay. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, I saw Sylvester. I saw him kicking your walking stick away at one point, which I thought was, I saw that, by the way. So if you ever need a witness for that, I did see that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it was. There was always room. There's always room for. I mean, the script was really good. There wasn't. I enjoyed the script. I enjoyed performing it. But I'm just trying to think. I think there was a couple of things. There was one scene I think was serving you, Kenny, in the when you were asking if you basically there's nothing on the menu that either of you wanted, and I just remember having a lot of fun with that and being allowed to be a bit freer and easier, just chucking little looks in or little words here and there. I can't remember the specifics, but there was definitely space to play around with the format, which is always nice. It's always the sign of a good production as well. Because sometimes as well, when you get to like massive productions, not that I've done that many, but when you get to a certain level of production, suddenly there's a real seriousness about, the costume department on you, the makeup department on you, continuity on you, the script department on you. You're not allowed to do anything. And it's not because the director or the writer doesn't want you, it's because every department is in charge because it's such a big production. So they have their domain they have to look after, and they're very, very strict about it. Whereas on a smaller production like this, you've got a direct line to the director, who is the writer. So it's not like it has to run, it's like a 3-tick system. I mean, that in the early days of River City, I've done River City for 4 years now. And in the early days when I started, you couldn't change anything. Once you were on the set, it was, or if you did want to change something, a phone call had to be made. And of course, you're up against it time-wise. So very often you make a suggestion, let me phone the producer. By the time the producer's been contacted, it's 3 hours later, and the scene's in the can. So that's another advantage of doing like a small production like this. That you have the space to improvise, and you've got the space to ask those questions. It was good fun.
Yeah. Sylvester, did you find something similar?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I never noticed that any freedom to improvise was restricted, really. And in fact, I got the spoons in.
Yes.
Something I was very proud of, because I was inspired by W.C. Fields. Because when W.C. Fields, his great skill was juggling. And so when he became a famous film star, he was playing Mr. Micawber in one of the Dickens films. You're starting for 10. Which one was Mr. Micawber in?
Oh God, it's not David Copperfield. Is it? No, it's not. It's I've gone blank.
So anyway,
yeah.
You guys are too old for me. I don't know what you're talking about.
So W.C. Fields was playing Mr. Micawber, and he looked at the script and he said, "Where's the juggling scene?" And they said to him, "Oh, Dickens didn't write a juggling scene." And he said, "Well, he has now. It's in my contract." So they had to film him juggling. And I remember thinking, well, I'd like to try and do something like that. So I've tried to get the spoons and everything I've done, nearly everything I've done. I failed just by the skin of my teeth in The Hobbit. But I got them in Doctor Who. When I was playing the fool in King Lear with Ian McKellen, I got the spoons in there. I played the Mikado, and I ended up playing the Emperor and playing the spoons at the end. And I've managed to creep them into everything I've done. It's in my contract. And so I was very proud and pleased to have got the spoons in.
So did you ask to play the spoons in Lord of the Rings?
I did. There's about 5 years of documentary that go with the 3 stories, and in it you'll find me that I'm whenever I can, I whip out my spoons, and I played them on Peter Jackson, and I nearly got them in. I carried around a little case, musical case, and he said, "What's in that?" And I took out some wooden spoons and I played them, and he said, "Oh, we've got to have that in The Hobbit." And then he forgot.
Oh.
I love that you're Radagast with these wooden spoons.
Yes. So I found it very relaxing as far as bringing extra stuff to it, to the film. Yeah, it was good.
I must say, being in a scene with either one of you was both incredibly fun for me and a total disaster, because you can both make me laugh when you're not even necessarily trying to. Well, Sylvester, the scene where you come in and you're shaking the snow off your coat, I had a full-on breakdown. I couldn't.
I think, did we not have to push your kidneys back in? You laughed so hard.
Basically, yeah. and Sanj, with the scene where you sniff Colin Skink, you did a different thing every take, and every single time I think I ruined the take by laughing over the footage. So I found your improvisation fun.
Well, do you know why I did different sniffs? Is that, and this is true, in the year 1999, I had a Bell's palsy. Do you know what that is? It's when it's a thing that happens to the nerve in your face. When your face collapses, it's like a mini stroke. So what happened was I had a really horrible virus, and then this Bell's palsy, and it meant that the left side of my face was paralyzed for a couple of months. So I'm 95% recovered from it. But when I get tired, or when I do certain gestures, my left eye is smaller than my right eye. So I can only imagine that I didn't even know that I was making different facial expressions when I was doing the sniff, but my Bell's palsy kicked in. So it gives me a range I don't really have, which is fun. I can only imagine that's where it was that made you laugh. You're laughing at a man's, frankly, condition, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, thanks for making me sound like a total monster. So there's a connection to Still Game for both of you.
Oh, well, yes. I was living in London, and I didn't see Still Game, and then I was asked to do a piece in it, and they sent me the videos with all the episodes, and I just fell about laughing and loved it, and just my favorite bit is one of the favorite bits was when they were at the opening. They're sitting in a what looks like an idyllic park, having a chat on the bench, and then the camera pulls back, and there's an old woman getting mugged by teenagers, and the dog, chasing after people, and there's chaos and madness, and then the gang arrive with the dog and chase them away. So they decide to build their garden on the top of their skyscraper they live in, and they open it at the end of the program, and all the old people come, and it's all lovely. Then suddenly the villains arrive with their dog, and they say, "Oh no, we thought we were going to get away from them," and the dog, and one of them takes his stick and throws it over the side, and the dog just jumps over. I just fell about laughing. I thought, I want to be part of that. Not the jumping over bit, but just and so it was great. It was just lovely, and also in a way, having been away from Glasgow for quite a long time, it was. I was getting paid to be taken around with the two lads and shown Glasgow as it was now. The only acting bit for me was McDonald's. I don't have McDonald's, but anyway, that's by the by.
Sanj,
so when you that scene, Sylvester, when you have a Big Mac for the first time, that was genuine. The look of surprise on your face.
Yes, so Sanj, obviously this is going to be a longer answer for you, because you are one of the main characters in Still Game. But do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I should probably say from the start, Still Game's not really my cup of tea. It's a bit lowbrow for me. I mean, it's money in the bank, don't get me wrong. But it's, no. I've been involved. I mean, I've known Ford and Greg since about 94, 95, when I started working at the BBC, not even in comedy as such. I was a radio presenter, and Greg was as well, to Radio Scotland, and we'd see each other and smile at each other. And then we got involved together in a show called Off the Ball, which is a football sketch show. And then we would work on the same projects together, be brought together by the same producers. And then they got commissioned. He met Ford, and I was kind of there when Greg met Ford, there or thereabouts, in the same room sort of thing, when those guys got together. And then they got commissioned to make this thing called Tune the Fat on Radio Scotland. And they brought me in to produce it. So back in 90, I'm guessing 97, 98, when it started on Radio Scotland, I used to produce the show. And then it became a shorter sketch show, and I became a writer on the show. and then it got on the telly, by which point I was still a writer on the show. So I remember when I was still writing for it, Ford had approached me, and he'd said that Ford, Greg, and myself all live in the same area of Glasgow, Hindland, in the West End of Glasgow. And there was a shop run by an Asian family that we all used. And Ford did a brilliant impersonation of the guy. I mean, Ford could just nail accents, especially hybrid accents. You know, Ford does a brilliant Glasgow Italian accent. He does a really good Glasgow Asian accent. And he said, do you think it would be off if I played a version of the shopkeeper on Tune the Fat? And I said, no, because for me, it's all about authenticity. He nailed the accent. If they get the look right, you know, obviously, don't go too heavy on the bistro. But I said to him, if you want to help me, want my help with maybe the script or just any kind of cultural references, because being Asian myself and our family did run a shop, you know, back in the early 80s. And I am obsessed with corner shops, always have been because of that. I'll help you write this sketch, you know, if it goes ahead. And then it never did, it never happened. And then Still Game came about. And that was the other thing, was there was talk about 4 different characters being spun off from Tune the Fat. So one of them was Ronald Villiers. That was nearly a thing, because it was going to be Ronald Villiers lived with his sister, and the kind of obviously has quite a tragic life. He obviously missed the boat on several occasions, and everyone loves Ronald Villiers and his sauce pathos in that character. And I don't know anyone that doesn't adore that character. So that nearly happened. Karen Dunbar's teacher character nearly happened. In fact, Donnie and I, so Donnie writes Fags, Mags and Bags with me. We got asked to write a pilot for Karen's teacher character, and that got made, but that never got spun off. But eventually it was the 2 old boys, Jack and Victor, that got the kind of green light. So Still Game was the thing. So then the boys approached me again and they said, remember the shopkeeper character that we talked about? And I said, well, my offer still stands if you want me to help write the character. And they said, no, do you want to play him? And at this point, I was quite an established comedy writer and presenter who'd done a wee bit of acting. Not much. I mean, I'd written stuff that I performed stuff that I'd written with Donnie, but I didn't see myself as an established actor. So of course I said yes, but then I thought, oh my God, I could be the thing that ruins this. Because the thing about Still Game was it was always going to be popular and brilliant, because these were established characters by established comedy writer performers. But Naveed was going to be a new character no one had seen. So if I'd been asked for it, I'd have been the guy that burst the balloon. So anyway, I said yes. And Greg had said, it's really funny when you impersonate your dad. We find that really funny. So Naveed really is a more Ouija-fied version of my dad, because my dad, he's not actually from Glasgow. He was born in India, came to London in his 30s, and then came to Glasgow in his late 30s. So he never had a Scottish accent. So my dad speaks like this. He died to chicken bugger. So when Naveed, you just need to put mere the VG quality, dinner torties, bastard. And so it's something that I find that I can do quite naturally. And also I physicalize him a lot like my dad. My dad's a turban seeker. So if you imagine Naveed with a turban, that's pretty much my dad. I mean, when I walk like Naveed. As soon as I put on the fake belly and the tank top and all the rest of it, I start flicking walls to see if the structure is really weird. My dad takes over. So and I've had nothing but joy playing that character. It's been such a laugh. I loved it.
Speaking of accents, Sylvester, you had an accent in Perfect Strangers. Where did that idea originate from?
Well, you see, as a Highlander, you see, I noticed that if you speak with a Highland accent, everything takes a little longer to say, because there's plenty of time to be saying it. And also I thought, this will give me more screen time. So that's why I suggested it, that I did it with so I could get more time with smaller lines. You see what I mean?
It's a very good way of building up your part. So this was quite a tight turnaround, quite a tight schedule, and quite a small crew. How was it for you to be working on a schedule that might have been a little bit tighter and an independent film? And what are your sort of thoughts in general about independent film and that sort of thing? And we'll start with Sanj.
I have been involved in a few sort of independent projects, low budget, I guess. I really enjoy them. because there's a real sense of camaraderie. People really do muck in. You know, obviously it depends how you cast a film from the cast perspective. But, you know, I'd imagine there are certain actors you would even approach to do films like this because they probably do have a bit of fragile ego and expect to be way too hand and foot. And you don't get that in independent production. You know, you muck in, and for me, that's part of the joy. And I always think that radiates into the production itself. I really like them. You know, it's also that there isn't the same level of hanging about. I mean, my God, there's so much hanging about on sets. I mean, I haven't done, I'd imagine, Lord of the Rings. There was a lot hanging about. I mean, or Hobbit. I mean,
3 years. 3 years hanging about.
3 years hanging out. So and I noticed your accent was very slow. And I'm joking. I would imagine that, you know, the glamour would very quickly come off when you're sitting in full makeup, having sat in the makeup chair for what? How long were you in the makeup chair for The Hobbit?
Oh, well, only an hour and a half. It wasn't too long.
Well, that's the same as Naveen. But the idea of this sitting about, and there's nothing worse than if you've got, say, maybe 1 or 2 lines that day, but you're sitting about and having to stay in the zone and keep that energy. It's really difficult. So on a production like this, just things are more fluid, they're more dynamic, and I find that easier and more enjoyable, actually.
Yeah.
What about you, Sylvester? How do you feel about working on independent film and the importance of independent films, and also working on such a tight schedule?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of used to it, really, in many ways, because when I did Doctor Who, the one thing that we didn't have enough time of was time itself. So the Time Lord was always complaining about there's never enough to do this bloody program. So I'm quite used to that kind of work. I do enjoy it, again, because there is an energy that gives you, and you become heightened and more sparky, and things fly, and things come in. Whereas if you're hanging around for 3 years, you know, it kind of, you know, it just slightly slows down a bit, really. So no, I do enjoy them, and as I agree with Sanjeev that everyone mucks in, and if you've got a good cast, it's just a joy. It becomes a little, you know, it's just like a group of friends. We were a group of friends up in the Highlands, you know, in hurricanes and gales and snow and everything. You know, it's just such a joy. What a holiday!
But also in terms of, if, say, like someone like Ryan has a vision and wants to realise that vision, and there are fewer hurdles to get over, or fewer changes you have to make, you know, to get to that vision. Sometimes you watch like a big budget feature film and you think that wasn't what the writer or director had in mind. It clearly wasn't. That's been exec to, I was going to swear there. Whereas with a lower budget production, you just have a greater degree of control, and that filters down to what we're doing. I mean, you're talking about improvising or chucking stuff in. I mean, it's a joy to be able to do that, and you can't always do that on bigger productions. So I guess that's the main, and that's why independent film is important. I think, yes, there's less money, and you can, in some ways, you have to be less ambitious, but you can, I think, be true to your original vision because there are fewer hurdles.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I was, and I shouldn't be thought of as knocking The Hobbit. Actually, it was an amazing experience, and Peter Jackson cast it brilliantly with people who were incredibly likable. I mean, all that cast, they're all incredibly likable. So that was great fun, and he did allow. I was allowed to improvise a hell of a lot, especially when I was trying to save an upstaging little hedgehog. But I do enjoy the independent films because of that energy. You know, that you really got to get this in the can, and you haven't got time to think properly. Somehow or another, you know, kind of energy or imagination or something comes out inside, and you haven't got time to criticize it or look at it and ponder on it. And you might throw it out. In fact, you can't get time to throw it, so you throw it in, and most of the time it works. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I really like that. That Ryan was so accepting of that, and the whole crew was actually so accepting of that. When you performed something in a way that maybe was a little bit unusual or a little bit different from what the standard way of performing the words written were, people were really accepting of that sort of thing. They didn't try and push you into a particular way of doing things.
Yeah.
There was oh gosh, yes, I was going to ask you, Sylvester, about the first scene you filmed where you showed up and discovered that the script had changed from the one that you'd been given, and basically had to learn the lines on the trot. Tell us about that.
Yes, well, yeah, luckily, over the years, these kind of things have happened before, but when you get older, it becomes a bit more daunting. Yes, there was some technical reason why I had an older script, and a new one had been written and more lines had been put in. And so it was skin of the teeth time, and I'm sure it wasn't quite perfect as far as the writer was concerned, but the director, you know, he apologized for the writer not having got to me earlier, and he allowed me to do whatever I came out with, which seemed to be mostly what the writer wanted. The director was pleased.
Yeah, I've actually seen the scene. I think it looks brilliant. I've been allowed to see bits and pieces of the film as they're making it. Don't know what gives me that privilege, but I think it works fantastically. Have you guys seen the trailer?
See the trailer? The trailer looks good. Yeah.
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 Yeah. No.
Huh?
We don't talk about the snow. There was the one drawback, wasn't there, in the early days of filming? There wasn't any snow. We're doing a snow film without any snow.
Yeah, just a terrible lack of snow for our Christmas movie, and we had Tommy, of course, with his snowblower and his plastic snow, just going around firing snow all over everything.
I know. Yes, I went to this. I went to the Arctic and filmed for 7 weeks in the North Pole. And the thing about the Arctic is it's a desert and it hasn't much liquid. So there was hardly any snow. And of course you need snow for a snow movie. So they actually, eventually, I think they flew in snow from the south of Canada. And they did all sorts of things. But one thing they did do was they cut up plastic bags into tiny little bits, and then they got big fans and they blew snow at us. And it blew into one of the actors' eyes, and he had to be flown from the North Pole down to Toronto to hospital because they nearly blinded him with snow. Luckily, we didn't have to do that because, as you say, Tommy was there with his machine and he did a glorious job.
Yeah, imagine David Attenborough hearing that you were just blowing plastic bags all over the North Pole.
Yeah. Yes, oh gosh, that's all, isn't it? What that signal? Oh dear.
So, final thoughts, guys. I just want to hear about any endearing memories or anything that will stick with you from the filming of Perfect Strangers. We'll start with Sylvester this time. So, what's the sort of moment that will stay with you from this movie forever?
Well, actually, it was the arrival late at night in what was the tail end of a hurricane from the South Carolinas, I think. It was just arriving in Glencoe and in this huge storm, and I was excited about the storm because I love storms, and I was excited about the film, and then going into the inn and just thought, wow, this is great, this is alive. The thing about storms is they make you feel alive, and then going in and meeting everybody, and you thought, so you started off with this really sense of excitement, and then they gave me the script that I hadn't learned. And that added joy.
And Sanj, what's your endearing memory?
Well, I'll take Sylvester Spoons to the grave for sure. That was amazing. It was wonderful because I didn't know that Sylvester was so proficient on the spoons. I didn't know he carried them out in the case. So when he said, "Oh, can I play the spoons?" I thought, "Yeah, let Sylvester play the spoons. He'll probably cut it out." And he's so good. He's so good. You should be in every song ever made. It's amazing. Kept relatively quiet, I would say. But also, I mean, it was a lovely, lovely time we had on the shoot, and a lovely part of Scotland. I mean, I think that's the other thing about the film is I love it when Scotland is showcased in, all the right reasons. And the lovely, lovely, lovely people who run the Clackag would take us out for wee day trips when we weren't filming. Yeah. And we got to feed the stags just up the road from where we were filming. And they had these little bags of like turnips and carrots, and I mean, it was a proper moment, you know. I'm a total city boy, right? I'm standing there, and I'm Asian as well. We hate the outside. We like casinos and flat screen televisions. We don't like the outdoors. So there I am, standing there, feeding a stag. It was quite a moment. I think I may have cried. That was
Yeah, I know. I enjoyed that as well. The meeting the stags and going to Skyfall and stuff like that. And,
yes.
that was cool.
Although I don't think I got to go to Skyfall actually, but what just a beautiful part of the world, isn't it? It's just stunning.
Yeah,
so gorgeous. And and obviously, like, gosh, the amount of stories you've got about diarrhea, Sanj. Oof, we could fill a whole podcast.
Oh, mate, that's my next project is Sanj's diarrhea diary. We're in the middle of filming that just now. It's just like a selection of short stories being brought to life about my arse action.
I'd listen to it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you so much for joining us here on Facebook Live for our chat about Perfect Strangers. If you want to know more about the film, like when it's being released, and if you want to follow us for more chats like this, you can find us on Facebook. Just type in Perfect Strangers Christmas film. So for now, thank you everyone, and thank you Sanjeev Kohli and Sylvester McCoy. Goodbye.
See you when they reopen. Bye.
bye.